Okay, now that we have been through the basic principles and guidelines for writing for digital media, we're going to talk specifically about developing a professional website. We did mention this much earlier in the semester, where we talked about establishing your online presence. And one of the main things that you can do is to have a professional website. We talked about how LinkedIn is a really good alternative to that, but part of what we need to do for this course is some of this writing for digital media, and what better way to do than to create your own professional website. I will say at the beginning of this, you are not being asked to spend any money on this site. You're going to be using free versions of whatever, whichever of the website creators you choose. I've offered you Wix and Weebly as the two options for this class. I'll say it again later, but if you do have a different option that you would like to talk to me about, then contact me as soon as possible so I can make sure that will work, or let you know that it won't work for this class. But you're not being asked to spend any money. You're only using free versions. If you choose to spend money and actually make your own real professional website, that's fantastic. But I will say again, it is not required. Only the free versions are required for this course. As you probably already know, a successful website is both well-planned and well-written. Design and technology serve to make the words work. So you have to have both the design and the words to create your best website. When it comes to planning your website, the more time you spend planning, or the more focused energy, I should say, you put into planning, the better off you'll be. So the first assignment that you have, and this is going to be what's due this week, is to take the time to write out a brief description of your professional goals. So think in terms of like, what is your 5-year plan? What is your 10-year plan? You know, that dreaded, or often dreaded, some people like it, interview question: where do you see yourself in 10 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? What are your professional goals? And limit this to professional. Don't go into your personal life, like married with 3 kids and blah, blah, blah. But just limit it to the professional right now. Why do you have those particular goals? Why do you want that career? Why do you want to be in that place in your career? You know, it's good to have those goals, but what is your why? What is your motivating factor? Your purpose for this particular site that you're going to be creating. Go beyond the fact that it is required for this class, and think about, if you were, you know, making this of your own volition, your own idea, what would the purpose for this site be? Who is your audience? And don't just say my audience is my prospective employer, but who are those employers? What companies would you see yourself applying to? What can you learn about those companies and about the people in the managerial and above levels of those companies? And then what is your core message? So who are you and what do you want the world to know about you and the professional world, the prospective employers that you are going to be targeting with this site? What is your core message? So excuse me. So that is what you want to really spend your time on this week, in addition to checking out some of the resources and watching some of the videos that are in this slides presentation. Right. And then you want to think about, you don't have to do anything specific with this yet, but you want to be thinking about your the structure of your professional site. You are required to have a homepage and an about page and a contact page. And then you must have at least a minimum of 2 what we're calling inside pages. One will be showcasing current work, something that you create specifically for this project that's going to show your skills. And we'll talk more about that next week. You also need to have a page that showcases 3 to 5 pieces from past work that you've done. It can be work that you're doing in this class, and it can be work that's coming up. That will be part of it, work that's coming up, some of the reports and things that we're going to be working on for the next few weeks. And it can be work that we've already done, whether that is individual or teamwork, as long as you give credit to the rest of the contributing members of your team. And then it can be work that you've done outside of class. So some of you are already working in your career fields or a related career field, and you may have some work you want to showcase from that. Think of this as a portfolio. These 2 pages you want to think of as a portfolio of your work so that prospective employers can see what you have done in the past and what you're capable of doing. Then if you want to add other pages to it, that would be great. So, this is the minimum that's required. Okay. When it comes to writing the homepage, you want to make sure that you have your name, first and last name, prominently displayed. This is a website about you, after all. You want to develop a logo, and you can use Canva to do that. Develop a logo that represents you in your career, what you want. It's going to help people remember you better. A tagline, not a cliche, but a tagline. And you could go to your resume that you created, use the objective as inspiration. Don't just copy the objective on here, but just, use it as inspiration for a tagline. A positioning statement, we'll be talking more about what the positioning statement is and looking at examples of those next week. So you don't have to worry too much about it now, but if you wrote a summary statement on your resume, that would be maybe a good source of inspiration for your positioning statement. You want to have some sort of a call to action, what you want readers to do, and you want to make that clear. And then you want to have your site overview, your site map, whatever, navigation tools should be clear on that page. So that's just getting a feel for what the homepage should include. We will go into more depth about these things, but just kind of giving you an idea. There's a video that you can watch on your own about some 5 key homepage design elements. You're not going to do that right now. It's 8 minutes long, but that has some good information in it. So I would ask you to go and watch that.
Hey, this is Ryan from Web Eminence, and in this video.
And then we're going to talk a little bit for a moment about your about page. This is the page where you are telling your story and communicating your value. It is not the same as your cover letter, although you may have some elements from your cover letter that show up in your about page. Again, next week, we're going to look at some examples of about pages and why they work, what works well in them and why it works. This is also where you want to translate your skills and capabilities into benefits for the reader. So again, communicating your value and how you can benefit people who would hire you. You want to include a good photo of yourself where you look friendly but confident, and if appropriate, maybe you include a video of you doing something related to your profession. And I do want to pause here and say that, first of all, the only people who are going to see this website are people who you give the link to, which would be me and anyone who is reviewing your website, or anyone who happens to just come and search your name and like Wix and your name or Weebly and your name. So it's not something that you have to worry about being, widely publicized, widely available. But if there is a particular reason why you are not comfortable including a photo or video of yourself on your about page or anywhere on your website, please contact me and let me know what that reason is so that I can agree with you that it's a good reason and make a note that that is something that you don't have to include. However, if you just email me and you say, I just don't want to put my photo on there, and that's my reason, I don't want to, that's not a good enough reason for this class. There has to actually be a substantial reason. So just let me know about that though. All right, there is another video linked here, and this video is about how to write an about page. So you again can watch that 6-minute video on your own, and you can learn all about good things about writing an about page. Okay. When it comes to writing the inside pages, and this goes to for all your pages, but use lively, user-oriented language. So the more you know about your readers, their expectations, the more you can tailor your language to them and use that user-oriented language. Keep any descriptions brief and down to earth. Don't try to be all poetic and lofty unless you are seeking a job as a poet. But or maybe a lyricist or something. But for the most part, you want to be brief and you want to be down to earth. You want to use appropriate images, the same things that we've been talking about. Keep it clear, keep it simple, keep it visual where it needs to be. So we do have some cautions. You want to use audience-centric design, which means you want to leave out anything flashy with the introduction and the music, if you include music, unless you have very clear and obvious opt-out buttons. You want to, again, limit the need to scroll. Some scrolling is expected, scrolling on and on and on and on is irritating. So if you have a lot of stuff, you might need to think about adding more pages. Use images and videos only where appropriately helpful. So again, don't just throw things in to throw them in, but make them have a purpose and a particular place, and they need to connect with the text that's around them. You want to avoid tactics that interfere with easy reading, such as using tiny font. Think in terms of standard 12-point font and larger. Busy, complicated designs. Again, those are visually distracting and disturbing and make it really hard to read what you have on top of those designs. Using more than 2 or 3 main colors. Using low contrast, like we talked about before, between your text and your background. So avoid any of that. And then don't use long, dense blocks of text. Short paragraphs, short sentences, high quality visuals, subheadings, bullet points, and white space are all your friends. We're not writing a research essay. We don't want long blocks of text. And we know people have TikTok attention spans now. So, we really have to limit what we have in any one chunk for people to consume. All right, so as I mentioned, you have your requirements, but we also have a document that, as usual, breaks it down a little bit more and gives you right now, the plan is to have your website completed by Thursday, the 4th of August. That is 1 week before the end of our semester. So that's our plan, is to have that finished by the 4th of August. It's a professional website that will showcase your ability to write professionally in the digital world. You can use the free version of Weebly or Wix. Here are some tutorials. The first one here for Wix is for using or for not using a template, so building it from scratch. It's really not that difficult, but some of us just don't have that mind for that, or don't have the amount of time that it might take to visualize all of it and put that onto the page. So there are some beautiful tutorials. There are some beautiful templates, and this tutorial would teach you how to use the templates to create your professional website. If you choose to use Weebly instead of Wix, there is a tutorial here for how to build a free Weebly website. And again, if you have another website builder that you would prefer to use, and they have a free version that you want to use, please talk to me before you start working on it so we can make sure it's going to work for this assignment. Squarespace is the one that I use personally for my business website, and I really like Squarespace, but I couldn't find where they have a free version anymore, and maybe I didn't go through enough steps to find it. But if anyone knows, or if anyone wants to find out and you prefer to use Squarespace, I know that that one will work for this class as long as there is a free option for it. Others, I don't really know. I'm not a big fan of WordPress. And I just don't, I'm not really sure because I haven't used others. Really, I've used Weebly or not Weebly. I've used personally Wix in the past, which I never published the site. I just kind of created it for some reason. And then I've used Squarespace, and I have used WordPress, but again, I'm not a huge fan of WordPress. So as far as other website creators, I'm not familiar with them. If you want to use them, I'll have to check it out and make sure it's going to work. So you'll have to contact me sooner rather than later, and don't invest a lot of time into something until it's been approved, please. All right, so again, we've got your rhetorical situation that we mentioned at the very beginning of the first video for this week. Establish your credibility, trustworthiness, and likability. Prove your expertise and authority in a particular field, and develop and maintain professional connections. Your audience would be potential employers or possibly potential customers if you choose to offer, like set yours up offering a particular product or that you've created, or a service that you have created. For example, I had a student in the winter who set their website up for as if they were starting their own landscaping company, because that is something that they are interested in doing in the future. So that might be a possibility if that's something that you wanted to do, not necessarily landscaping, but you know, if you have a mind for starting your own business, and you want to set up your website in that manner, it's still a professional site and you're showing your skills and all of that. But if you don't have that, and you know, it's hard to just create that out of nowhere, setting it up as your employment seeking website would be a good option. All right, so you have to have your homepage. These are the things that must be on the homepage. Again, we'll be, you know, looking at these examples next week, but obviously they're linked here for you. You can look at them ahead of time if you would like to. You can look at the examples of the about page as well. The contact page, what's required for all of this, options for inside pages. These are not things that are required. These are options for things that you could include and that other students have included previously. Your 3 to 5 items, design information, which really goes back to a lot of the things we've already talked about, and the style. So as far as, you know, the completed website is to be done by the 4th of August. We'll be working on different parts of that before then, and I will probably come in here and add due dates for these different sections so that they're right here on here, but they will of course be in the slides as well. All right, so let's go back to our presentation for our final bits here. The assignments. So again, this week you are preparing. You need to create a Word or PDF document that you'll submit on Blackboard. The submission link is there on Blackboard by Monday at noon with that description of your professional goals, your why for having those goals, your purpose for the site, your audience, everything you can gather about that audience, and your core message. And remember that the more specific details you can give, the better. If you just half-ass this, then your site's going to come out pretty half-assed most likely. So do your time now to front load, to really prepare so that you can actually do what needs doing. Here are some of the links. I guess I forgot to take this section out because I actually moved it to the next slide. So we'll look at this and I'll probably just take that part out when I'm done recording. Okay, so links for the website project. You've got Weebly or Wix. You have Pexels for free images and videos. Those are copyright free, royalty free. You have a website for royalty free music. You've seen these before. You have Canva for creating logos, graphics, videos, infographics, all kinds of stuff that you can do on Canva. Again, you don't need to spend money on any of it. There's enough free stuff that you can do what you need to do. These are the tutorial links again, so using those as needed. And that is what we have for your professional website project. So just as a little recap on that, you are creating a professional website that is to showcase you and your skills and your work that you've already done. You have an option of creating this website for the purpose of seeking employment or for offering a particular service, business, if you have that already kind of in mind. One person, I mentioned the landscaping, another person was creating a site for their home baking, cottage baking. So like selling the things that they make, which they already do. And so this was just moving them more into that professional direction of having an actual site. And they put some of their TikTok videos that they had made that showing some of their baking that they've done on that site. And then another one, this person and their partner sell fish, like exotic fish for fish tanks. And so they, were creating this website for that purpose. And then there were plenty of others who are like, I'm not there yet. I don't want to run a business. I just want to get a really good job. And so they created their sites for that purpose of seeking employment, showing off their best selves and their best work and things like that. Right. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. And again, I apologize for the glitches in the videos this week. For some reason, my internet just keeps going out and I don't know why. So yeah, have a great week.